Hey, it's JC14241 once again with another race recap for the 2018 Core League season. This is race 10, the Go Dabbing at the Glen. Shout out to whoever it was that decided to sponsor this race. I actually never heard who it was. We started, I think, 7th place or 8th place in this one. Could have had a much better qualifying session, but the lap that I chose to be my really good one wound up being one that I just completely choked away, so I had to settle for some mediocre lap upon my standards. Of course, the race started out and I was just having good old bunch of lag, always on and off with me, like it always is. And we're running 7th place right now. We got Ed Soundhead, Brendan, Joseph, Sloppy Joe, What If Racing, Dale Reynolds up in front of us, and some of these guys are the main contenders all race long. My best corner was the bus stop, but things really stacked up right here, and I was in a situation where I wanted to lie back and not run anybody over, but it slowed up so much that I was like, okay, let's just avoid making contact with everybody, and surprisingly, I did. That situation got me into 5th place, and what I think happened was Sloppy Joe had gotten loose into the bus stop, and that slowed down Joseph, and then they were side by side in front of me, and by the time I was already on the brakes, but nothing I could do to avoid making contact aside from pull underneath them. So we managed to finish off the first lap in 5th place. We got What If Racing and Dale Reynolds side by side off the final corner, and What If Racing leads the first lap of the race, and could have been Dale, it's just he missed a shift right there, and I missed my braking point in turn 1 the next lap, and I quickly dove past Joseph Lombard because I didn't want to crash into him. And the universe was like, hey, you're not crashing into one car, you're crashing into 2 cars. Yeah, it's even worse. And then I'm so slowed up from getting loose afterwards that got Raw Gator on my inside and Brendan on my outside, and I think Brendan slowed up just to get out of that situation. So now I'm running in 6th place, so didn't hurt my race too badly, and actually really did. Raw Gator didn't start too well. I guess that kind of helped him out. He managed to finish really good in the end. I'm trying to stop not giving Ed Soundhead room, but I'm getting myself loose, and that tightens me up in the carousel. Little contact on my end. I don't know if it happened on his or not. Probably did. And then afterwards, Ed Soundhead, he missed his braking point into the second to last corner right here. Just by a little bit, to be honest. Nothing to ruin either of our corners. I think that was just on accident. I mean, it did look like it was on accident whenever I did it, but you can tell I was trying to avoid Joseph if you watch back on his stream. As you can see, I'm really fast behind him in his mirror, and I just dive to the inside. I'm like, okay, let's not hit him. A few laps later, Joseph got loose off of turn 1, and that allowed me to get a really big run on him, but I was like, okay, let him get his shit together. I don't want to go passing in the uphill S's right here. That would be horrible. Some places where I'm not comfortable making passes, and honestly, I didn't know if I wanted to make a pass on Joseph because that was just a setback. In all reality, the only corner I was actually faster than him truly in every lap was the bus stop here, and for the most part, you'd pull away on other corners. But looking back on that situation on the second lap, I'm just really glad to say that I didn't ruin Dale Reynolds' race, and I didn't ruin Sloppy Joe's race especially, and he wound up getting the win in the end, so congrats to him. But yeah, this is the 3rd time going to the bus stop with me, a good half a second behind Joseph or something, and then I just closed the entire gap, and every freaking time. And I'm getting a really good run in turn 1 somehow, but oversteer, and the car just won't stop turning and getting loose and stuff like that. So that sends me back into 7th place because Ed got a great run on the outside. And once again, I'm just really fast in the bus stop, lots of dirt kicking up and everything, going over the curbs and stuff. And I'm like, okay, JC, it is time. It's time to stop deciding to not make passes. This is a race. Pass the guy. And I did, but then he got to run off the final corner at the end of the lap, and he kind of overshot turn 1 on the inside. His car started tipping over. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just mind my own business. Never mind. Freaking video game doesn't know a clue where Ed Soundhead is, and that's not what happened on his end at all. But it's freaking game, man. That was so stupid. Well, at least he made a good thumbnail. I'm not sure Ed likes that thumbnail at all. I wasn't even trying to enter pit road right here, but the car got stuck, so I'm like, it's already the halfway point and stuff, so let's just take it down pit road. I decided to get 4 tires, a full tank of fuel, and maybe I should have waited a little bit later, but I was already got stuck to going down pit road, so I was going to have to get 2 cans of fuel, to be honest. But also in that situation, maybe I should have taken just 2 tires or no tires, because that's the decision that Sloppy Joe made to win the race. And if he hadn't done that, I don't know if he would have won the race. It did save him like 3 seconds or something. So we come off pit road really fast, running 10th right now because pit stops are still happening, and Rusty Waller's is extra, and I'm like, okay, let's avoid making contact with him. I don't know why, sometimes whenever I try to avoid making contact with somebody, it gets to the point where I just dive completely out of the way and ruin my turn, whatever the word is. I get so conflicted on what word I want to say. So I got a run on Brennan off the final corner, and he goes to the inside, but then I start getting lag right whenever I'm pulling to his outside. And I mean, if I hadn't gotten that lag, then he would have just pulled up in front of me. And then I got stuck in the grass afterwards, so that freaking sucked. A few laps later, we're on the final lap, going into the second to last corner. Sloppy Joe takes the trophy for this race, the checkered flag. And I was pissed off that I couldn't make the pass over him, so I gave him the bumper, even though it wasn't his fault. It's just net code, you know. And he's like, nope, I give it back to him. I chose the wrong corner to bump and run, and then we both die. It's a good thing that Eric is 25 seconds behind us. I'm like, okay, let's go back across the finish line. I'm like, wait a second, this is Watkins Glen. That's a whole fucking 10 seconds away if I'm going to back across the finish line. If I had turned the car around faster, we could have gotten 7th place right there. But, yeah, it's the 4th time in a row finishing either 8th or 9th. Could have finished in the top 5, but it's just got caught up in so many situations. It's a messy race, but yeah, it all comes down to just like 6 minutes of footage. So clearly, whenever I wasn't, getting bumped into by somebody, or, just getting caught up with Ed, or, trying to race somebody during pit stops and stuff like that, there just wasn't much going on. I spent a lot of time by myself or just trying to track somebody down. Yeah, I just wish that I hadn't overdriven turn 1 on the beginning of the second lap. Like I said, that was freaking horrible. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or what. I was like, okay, it's always like right after the green light, and I went a good bit after that green light before the first corner. And like I said, I tried to avoid crashing into Joseph. That's the last person I want to crash into a race, is Joseph. The 8th place finish and Brennan finishing in front of me allows him to pull away a little bit more on me in the points, but we do move to 8th place in the point standings because Winval has not raced in 2 races. He's no longer racing in this league, even though it's almost over. So the fact that it took me multiple races to actually get to him shows how mediocre my past 4 races have been. But next up is Talladega, another super speedway. If you guys saw how Daytona went, then whenever we go to Talladega, that's really going to change up how just this championship battle is going down with Raw Gator, Ed Soundhead, Dale Reynolds, and What If Racing. So for all we know, Raw Gator could be in contention to win the championship going into Atlanta after Talladega, which is just freaking insane. Just absolute meme NASCAR YouTube channel. It would be amazing if he won the championship, but I so badly want Dale to win a race and to win this championship. And then we've got Atlanta, of course, a track that I won at during the preseason, the only preseason practice race that I ran, and that was whenever they're doing the whole custom setups thing, but after that they decided to turn it off. And I don't know if I'm going to run that well. Usually I'm pretty strong at Atlanta, just got to stay in the draft well and hit my marks in that race too. And Talladega, I just hope the internet's not bad, because that is very important. Not having lag is very important at Talladega. And I'm going to have to be very strict on that one. Talladega race is actually happening on my dad's birthday. I went to Talladega last year to attend the Geico 400. That race was bad, but from my perspective, it was pretty darn good because I had just never attended a NASCAR race myself, and it was just a great adventure. One of the most memorable things from last year. So I'm looking forward to racing there in a league like this and, just being a part of everything. I'm going to be using my test car in that race because I haven't raced my test car. I have a test car. And my test car is black, so, shades of the Intimidator because it's a super speedway. I don't know. Well, see you next time. That's that. And race recap over.